Are we going to get answers anytime soon to the two biggest Miami Hurricanes offseason questions?
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday. We made it. I am Alex Dono, University of Miami alumnus, co-host of Locked On ACC and writer for Canes County at Rivals. And thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on that regular season with FanDuel, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. On this episode of Locked On Canes, we will discuss what's the bigger concern. Is it the offensive side of the football, losing Cam Ward and having some uncertainty at quarterback, or is it the defense coming off a very inconsistent year, putting it kindly, on that side of the ball? What's the biggest concern? I mentioned at the top the two biggest offseason questions. I believe the two burning questions right now are who's going to be your defensive coordinator and who's going to be your quarterback next year. Those are the two burning questions. How close are we to finding resolution? We'll also talk about how the Branch brothers visit has gone. The USC duo, Zachariah Branch, the stud wide receiver, his brother Zion, the safety, what it's going to take for Miami to lock them up. Answering questions on this episode from the Locked On Canes insiders. If you want to become a member, click the link in the show description below. Try it free for 14 days. So we get this question. And again, this to be one of the two biggest questions. Do you think Mario Cristobal will hire his defensive coordinator soon? He has to know that waiting hurts getting defensive players in the portal. Well, I mean, I don't think Mario Cristobal is going to wait on purpose, like at least not like, hey, let's just wait for the sake of waiting. I mean, if this process does take a little while to play out, it just probably has to do with him trying to make sure he gets the guy that he really wants. Now, something to remember about this defensive coordinator hiring process. So Lance Guidry, former DC, he was let go on this Tuesday, the 31st. That wasn't the morning that Mario Cristobal woke up and decided we need a new defensive coordinator. I believe Cristobal has known for a few weeks, if not several weeks, that he was likely to make this change. So during that time, I would imagine, created his list of candidates. Maybe there has been, some feelers sent out there through intermediaries, and it's not as if he completely started this search from scratch. So, Cristobal, we all want him to get it done quickly because, you got, a player like Zion Branch who's visiting right now, who plays safety. Lance Guidry was not only the defensive coordinator, but essentially the safeties coach. You want to know exactly who your defensive coordinator is because you start your scheming, your preparations for spring football. But at the same time, we don't need Mario Cristobal to rush this in the expense of getting the right guy. But I feel like Cristobal, his early targets that he's established, he's going to want to move as quickly as possible. And, if you follow the reporting, it looks as though maybe like the two earliest candidates that have emerged here, Tyler Santucci, the defensive coordinator at Georgia Tech, who Miami reportedly reached out to pretty early on, as did Texas A&M, and Tim Banks, the defensive coordinator at Tennessee. And according to a report from On3 Sports, Banks, who's done a sensational job with the Volunteers, is reportedly open to a move to South Florida. And not to say these are the only candidates, because there have been others that have been thrown around, but a little, Miami's interest is unconfirmed on some of these other ones. Will Muschamp is a name that's gotten thrown out there. Mel Tucker, the former Michigan State head coach, Pat Fitzgerald, the former Northwestern head coach, Clint Hurt, T. Rob, other names that have been thrown out there. But it seems as though the most concrete links that we've had so far, Santucci at Georgia Tech and Banks at Tennessee. And if you ask me my preference right now, I'm a big Tim Banks fan. Top 10 defense this past year with the Volunteers. The past 4 years that he's been in Tennessee, they always finish with strong defenses. Their defense was third in the SEC this year in scoring defense. They only gave up 16.1 points per game. Gosh, can you imagine if with Miami's offense this year, if their defense had only given up 16.1 points per game? We'd be preparing for a CFP semifinal game right now if that were the case. So Tennessee's defense under Banks, they gave up fewer than 20 points in 10 of their 13 games this year. Miami, meanwhile, gave up more than 30 points in 7 of their 13 games this year and over 40 points in 3 of those. But back to Tennessee's defense, they generated 12 interceptions, 9 fumble recoveries, 30 sacks. They led the SEC in tackles for loss at 7.62 TFL per game. So that was a dynamic, disruptive defense. And Tim Banks has a reputation of making adjustments and adapting his defense to his personnel. So I think that would be a great move. And hopefully, and I'm not necessarily saying that Miami has identified him as their number one candidate, but if they have, I would like them to try and move as swiftly as possible, because your point is taken that, the quicker Miami can wrap this up, the better, but don't wrap it up quickly for the sake of that. Make sure you get the right guy, because guess what? Everyone is thrown out there, and rightfully so. Mario Cristobal is about to hire his third defensive coordinator in 4 years. So, just the track record with the consistency of the hiring has not been great. So you hope that your next hire is someone who is going to be good enough to either do such a fantastic job that they get poached by the NFL or something, or they do such a great job that you want to keep them around for more than 2 years, more than 5 years, preferably. So you've got to get this hire right, and don't make the hire quickly at the expense of getting it right. But I get it. Like, you're recruiting defensive players in the portal. They want to know who their coordinator is going to be next year. We get this question from our guy, Emory Kane, who says, Dono, is even going to have a defensive backfield next year? All of our DBs are seemingly abandoning ship. With what we witnessed this past season, this is not the direction we need to be going in, especially a defensive back. What do you think is happening? He says, as always, I love the show. Thank you for that, by the way. He says it's the perfect length for my drive home. Well, on the length of the show, you can thank David Locke, the CEO of the Locked On Network, because he rightfully has wanted all the shows to be about 30 minutes long, because, if it were up to me, I would talk for like 6 hours, but nobody wants that. 30 minutes is perfect. So thank you, David Locke, for that. Now, Emory Kane, I wouldn't freak out too much about the defensive backs that are leaving. Miami is attempting to upgrade that part of the field, and I wish all of these players the best. The guys who are hitting the transfer portal, I wish all of them the best. These are great young men, and I want them to find success elsewhere. But Miami in the transfer portal, yesterday they lost cornerback Deani Hill. Did not have a great year here. And also, the Hill thing makes sense because he was a former Marshall guy who was specifically recruited here by Lance Guidry, who coached him at Marshall. So when Guidry left, it was automatic. You figured Deani Hill would probably leave as well. Jaden Harris has hit the transfer portal. He had a really tough year. I hope he can bounce back and find greatness somewhere. And Isaiah Thomas, who's very young, hadn't played yet, was coming off an injury his final year of high school. He probably needs to find, a smaller team where he can get on the field and play. We interviewed Isaiah Thomas a couple years ago. Very nice guy. I hope he finds success. But the guys you're keeping, which are the guys you want to keep. OJ Frederic, Damari Brown, Zaquan Patterson. You need to keep these guys locked in, and you've already been active in the transfer portal, gaining Zachariah Poyser, very highly rated safety out of Jacksonville State, Charles Brantley, highly touted corner coming out of Michigan State, and Emmanuel Carnley coming out of Arizona, big, long, physical corner. So I believe what we're seeing, I'm not worried about the guys that are leaving. All the best to them, but I think we're in the process of upgrading the defensive backfield, and hopefully we'll be talking about Zion Branch joining that room as well. All right, we got questions about the Branch brothers. Got a lot of questions about quarterback as well, because there's another name that has been rumored, but rumors are crazy, okay? But we'll talk about all of it. You guys want to keep it locked right here. We're only getting started on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. And we're only getting started with FanDuel. And guys, if you haven't started yet, it's not too late. Yes, the NFL playoffs are almost here, but you can still get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. FanDuel has so many ways to pick up a dub. I love betting on which players will score a touchdown, how many points each team is going to score. It truly is thrilling. Not only can you bet on who's going to win the game, but FanDuel has awesome prop bets for stuff like which players will score a touchdown, how many points each team will score, and so much more. Just visit fanduel.com to join today. That's fanduel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. Make sure for your next listen, you check out Locked On College Football. Boy, has Spencer McLaughlin been busy. Now, he covers the Oregon Ducks, so he's probably still a little salty about that Ohio State game, but he also covers the national scene. He'll talk about Notre Dame's victory over Georgia, everything going on in the CFP. Make sure you check out Spencer on Locked On College Football. Like this show, it's available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. All right, this question comes in from the Locked On Canes Insiders. And by the way, if you want to join our Insiders chat, click the link in the show description below. You get text messages directly from my phone to yours, breaking news, rumors, opinions, questions, and answers. Try it free for 14 days. And then if you like it, you can opt in for $4.99 a month. Give you a lot of added value on there on the Locked On Canes Insiders chat. So this question comes in, do you think we can pull off the Branch brothers? So, the number 4 overall rated transfer portal player and the second ranked transfer wide receiver is Zachariah Branch, dynamic slot receiver from USC who, he's a weapon. He's explosive. He's also an excellent special teams returner. I feel like if there does end up being like some kind of a bidding war because this player is going to be sought after, I think Miami needs to give it a go here. You'd love to land this player, especially after having missed on Casey Concepcion, who ended up choosing Texas A&M. You're obviously losing some receivers from last year's team. Xavier Restrepo is gone. Sam Brown is leaving early for the NFL. Jacoby George is gone from last year. Isaiah Horton took his talents to the portal. You have landed C.J. Daniels. You've got a good freshman class coming in with the likes of Joshua Moore, Dalen Upshaw, Malachi Toney, but you need more experienced receivers. And Zachariah Branch, to me, he would be an absolute home run. And, his brother Zion, who plays safety, is also a major need here. And I believe Zion is better than like his resume has shown because he's unfortunately missed a lot of time due to injury. And Miami could really use experienced safety depth. And he was a 4-star player coming out of high school. His brother, the receiver, was a 5-star coming out of high school. You got the Bishop Gorman connection. They come out of Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas. You've got Elijah Lofton from Bishop Gorman, and you've got S.J. Alofi-Tuli. So hopefully they can get the band back together in South Florida. And my understanding, it sounds like the visit went very well, and it sounds like Miami's making a move. Now I know that there's one local outlet or social media account that's like very confident that Miami could get them locked up. I hope that they're right about that because I know Miami is trying to be very competitive in the Branch Brothers sweepstakes. And if Miami feels like they're in a position to get these guys to commit to the U, you would like to think that, for Zachariah Branch, who plays receiver, that Miami has a plan and an idea that they're pitching him on who the quarterback is going to be. And in the case of Zion Branch, you'd like to think they're giving him an idea of what the defense is going to look like next year and maybe who the defensive coordinator might be. Because, it's going to be hard to land those guys if you don't have some clarity on those different spots. So hopefully Miami does, because these guys, both of them, could really help elevate your program next year. And, we all know that Cam Ward, who was, the most instrumental player on the 10-win season, the success that Miami had this year, he's not going to be back next year. So you're going to need to be better at every position, right? Because you're probably not going to be better at quarterback no matter what you do. You have to be better everywhere else. So the Hurricanes, I believe, need to invest as many resources as possible to get it done with Zachariah Branch and Zion Branch. And sounds like the visit went really well. There are other programs competing for the Branch brothers. It seems like his top 5, along with Miami, are Georgia, Arizona State, Texas, and Tennessee. So those seem to be the 4 programs that Miami is competing with right now for the Branch brothers. We get this question from Stephen C., who says, hey, are you more concerned about the offense or the defense at the current point? That's a phenomenal question. I would love to hear from you guys. You want to leave us your comments on Locked On Canes YouTube or send us an X post at Locked On Canes. Are you more concerned with the rebuilding of the defense or the offense? If I had to pick my poison on this one, I'm still going to say the defense, knowing that, again, the future at the quarterback position is very uncertain. Does Miami go with Emory Williams, who has entering his 3rd year with the program? It's been under Shannon Dawson these past couple of years. We've heard and I've seen in practice positive signs for his development, but saw a lot of negatives on the field in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, and it was very concerning. Like, nope, I was not expecting him to play that poorly in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. So that would be a gamble. Do you go with Emory Williams or at least let him compete to start? Do you think Luke Nickell could win the starting job his first year? I think he's the future of the position, whether it be this coming season or a season after that. Or do you go and grab one of these transfer quarterbacks? We threw out the name yesterday, Jalen Milroe from Alabama. Jalen has since declared for the NFL draft. Now, whether that could potentially be a leverage play, keeping his options open. Remember, Cam Ward declared for the NFL draft last year and still ended up at Miami. I can't say for sure if Milroe is going to follow through on that decision. Same thing with Carson Beck. Will he follow through? But those are, 2 names we had been rumored for. We'll talk about another name Miami's being rumored for in a little bit. But a couple of the names Miami has been rumored to maybe take a look at have since, officially declared for the NFL draft. So, maybe we give a long, hard look to Mark Gronowski from South Dakota State, who's a really, really sought after FCS guy who is, seems to have an NFL future potentially, but could play one more year in college. But as far as the Branch brothers goes, it sounds like Miami's really making a move there. And, I've seen, I think from On3 Sports National saying that the Hurricanes have definitely made themselves a legitimate player in the Zachariah and Zion Branch sweepstakes. So this is one I'm sure Miami would like to get this locked up as soon as possible. And I'm hoping before the week is over, we get some commitments. I mean, Brockermeyer, the center, Bauman, the tight end, also visiting this weekend. So hopefully we get some good news soon. But yeah, as far as let me get back to the question because I got a little sidetracked from Stephen C's question. Am I more concerned about despite the questions at quarterback, I think I'm still more concerned with the defense because on the offensive side, no matter who your quarterback is, we know we have foundations. Excellent offensive line, excellent running back duo or trio, Mark Fletcher and Jordan Lyle being at the top of that list, have talent at wide receiver and talent at tight end because Elijah Lofton is going to be an absolute stud this year. So even with the questions at quarterback, you've got a lot of foundations on the offense. The defense is more of a work in progress, right? I believe in Miami's defensive tackles, but most of them at this point are young and unproven. And how is David Blay? How is he going to add to that unit? Hopefully he makes a big impact. The linebackers, I believe, are capable of better than how they played this year. You are losing Kiko to the NFL. Defensive secondary under renovation. So and you need a coordinator. So still, I'm more concerned about the defensive build than I am about the offensive build. But Miami's defense can absolutely be better next year than it was this year, but you've got to find the right coordinator, and I think you still need to add a couple more transfers. But to answer your question, it's a good question. More concerned about the offense or the defense? I would still say the defense, even though we don't really know who the quarterback is going to be. We get this question. Will Muschamp, he coached Jason Taylor at one point. Would that help Muschamp to get a thumbs up from JT, or maybe it'll help us get a thumbs up from Muschamp because we have Jason Taylor? And yeah, for those who don't remember, Will Muschamp had a short stop I think it was 2005. He was on the Miami Dolphins staff when Jason Taylor was a Dolphin. That was, I think, Nick Saban's first year as head coach at the Miami Dolphins. That tenure that went so well in the pros for Saban. I mean, greatest college coach of all time. But the Dolphins thing was like an afterthought at this point. But yeah, I mean, I guess the Muschamp Jason Taylor connection. I don't know if they've kept in touch for the last 19 years or 20 years. It can't hurt, I guess. And listen, as far as Muschamp, I haven't seen like any concrete links between Miami and Will Muschamp, who's currently an analyst at Georgia. Maybe now that Georgia is they're not doing anything for the rest of the CFP, maybe talks can intensify there. But I haven't seen any concrete links. But I think Muschamp is a very good defensive coach, very good coordinator, and if Miami can make a move for him, I would consider that a very serious hire. And if you can get someone like that who has head coaching experience, I think that could add a lot, because if Mario Cristobal wants to have basically a head coach for the defensive side of the football, that's the type of guy who would be up to that role because he has that kind of experience. So, I don't know how valuable the connect. Well, if anything, the connection to Jason Taylor, he'd be more likely to want to keep JT on the staff, and we all want Jason Taylor to stay on Miami's defensive staff, right? We get this question from a Locked On Canes insider. Do we believe that Shannon Dawson can develop a quarterback, or should we hire a quarterbacks coach? Because I'm afraid us chasing the portal every year is going to shy away high school quarterbacks. As far as Shannon Dawson developing quarterbacks, I think the reason why so many people are asking this question was when they saw, Emory Williams struggle in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. A lot of people are like, well, what has Dawson done with this guy for the last 2 years? Like, what's going on here? But Dawson's got actually a good history there. He was a quarterbacks coach before he ever became an offensive coordinator. Some of the quarterbacks he's had the most success with, he developed Clint Trickett at West Virginia, and he did a really good job developing Clayton Tune, the former very successful quarterback at Houston. That was right before Dawson got to Miami. So, I don't see Miami getting a separate quarterbacks coach for a couple of reasons. Number one, that adds an extra staff member, and there are staffing limits. And then number two, I think there are advantages for your quarterbacks coach and your offensive coordinator to be the same person, because it helps your offense be in more sync that way. Because sometimes when your OC is not your quarterbacks coach, you're teaching your quarterbacks habits and techniques that don't necessarily fit the system and the play calling. I think it's better for that to be the same guy. And, I think Shannon Dawson has proven himself over the years to be more than capable at that. All right. So there is a rumor, and that's my disclaimer. This is a rumor about a quarterback who's, over the last day or so been linked to the Miami Hurricanes. You want to keep it locked right here, my friends. We're not done yet on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. Oh, my friends, I am nowhere near done yet with Rocket Money. Because, boy, have they helped me with my personal finances and my family's finances. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? I had a few of those. I didn't even realize I was still paying for some subscriptions, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. For me, one of the best features is that subscription tracker. I've used it to cancel services I wasn't using anymore, and I've already saved a ton. Plus, with their goals feature, I've been able to automatically set aside money for my family's future. No more stressing about budgeting every month. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/locked-on today. That's rocketmoney.com/locked-on. rocketmoney.com/locked-on. Thank you for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. Make sure you also check out Locked On ACC. Kenton Gibbs and I take you through the conference. We talk about the SEC bias. We talk about the future of the ACC, so much stuff. Locked On ACC, available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. We get this question from Hercule, who says, Jaden Maiava, what are you hearing? So that's the rumor that I've been talking about. And this has though a few Miami fans have been talking about this. This is a quarterback who's currently at USC. People on USC message boards are talking about it because some Miami fans are talking about it. So there has been a rumor linking USC quarterback Jaden Maiava to Miami. From what I can tell, not from anyone that I know to be reliable. So I trace this rumor back to a poster, like a user, like not like an actual reporter who does it for a living, but someone who posts on the Kane Sport message board, who claims to have inside info, and he's been right about he claimed to have known about Isaiah Horton transferring like a month before it even happened, and he has gone on the record, I think as of yesterday, saying that Jaden Maiava would hit the transfer portal and he would be Miami's quarterback within 48 hours. So I guess we're about 24 hours now away from that prediction coming true. Now, the only problem is, again, I haven't seen anybody else reporting this. No disrespect to whoever that person is on the message board, but I don't know who you are. I haven't seen this from anyone reliable. I've not been told anything about this other than people asking me about it. And also, unless maybe this is one of those things where the paperwork already hit and it just hasn't been officially filed yet. I think Maiava's deadline to hit the portal has already passed. So he's not in the portal. I don't know if he still has a chance to get in the portal unless there's just a lag time between the paperwork being filed and the paperwork coming out. So, the rumor was so out of left field. I don't know what to make of it. Okay. If Maiava does become available, obviously this is not, someone with the proven track record of a Quinn Ewers or a Carson Beck or a Jalen Milroe, but, he definitely has talent. He could come in and compete, potentially upgrade the room. He completed just under 60% of his passes this year, 1,201 yards, 11 touchdowns through the air to 6 interceptions. He also had 4 rushing touchdowns. And Maiava, he transferred to USC from UNLV last year. And I think that I don't know if there were any actual links, but, people were wondering a year ago, before Miami landed Cam Ward and won the quarterback lottery, if Miami might go after Maiava then. Would they go after him now? But again, this rumor is so out of left field. I don't have any reason to believe that he's going to be in the portal. Now, I think another reason why Miami fans are talking about this is him coming from USC. If there is any truth whatsoever to this Maiava rumor, that could involve him reuniting with Zachariah Branch and Zion Branch at Miami. So I think that connection is one of the reasons why Miami fans are talking about it and maybe trying to wish it into existence. But I don't have any reason to believe he's in the portal. So I don't know what to do with this, but so many people are asking me about it. I want to give my 2 cents on it. We get this question from 818 Callie Kane, who says, is there a secret quarterback that we are going after that you can't name, but you know about? If I told you, I would have to kill you. But in all seriousness, there seems to be some quiet confidence that Miami is going to figure out a positive resolution to their quarterback question. So everything I'm hearing is Miami does not seem to be panicking about this, that they feel like they're going to end up with the best possible quarterback situation. And listen, this year is not last year. Every situation is different, but a lot of people were doubting them a year ago at this time, and they ultimately ended up landing Cam Ward. Now, I don't necessarily think there's another Cam Ward out there to land this year, but you doubted the plan last year. Let's slow our roll before we doubt it this year. We get this question from Dat Dude 239, who says, hey, do you believe Mario Cristobal still has the trust of his locker room, meaning having all the players completely locked into what he's trying to build? That dude, for as much as that's possible in 2025 with how crazy college football has gotten, I do believe Mario has the confidence and the faith of his locker room. Mario Cristobal and his players are family. He works very hard to be upfront and honest with his players about where they stand, to offer them full transparency. I know that sometimes fan bases, they kind of, we permeate, and I don't necessarily mean me, but as fans, sometimes you permeate like negativity because of the stuff that we say on social media and the stuff that we say in our group chats, but that's not reality. I think, the toxicity you see from certain fans on social media is usually not a reflection of the feelings that are inside the locker room, because they know what's really going on. A lot of you guys don't. Now, can you keep an entire roster of 85 players plus 20 walk-ons happy? Of course not. Not everyone is going to be satisfied with their playing time or the role that they play on the team. That's why every program experiences transfers. So, but I still think that the core of players on this roster, they love Miami. They want to play for Mario, and for any of the negativity that you guys might have about next season, that's not necessarily shared by the guys in that locker room. I still, I know that the Florida State fans are having a good chuckle about Mario's trajectory comments after Miami beat Florida State by 22 points, but I still believe in the trajectory that this program is on, and it's going to be hard to win 10 or 11 games next year because the schedule is tougher. But I think Miami has some confidence that they're going to be able to find the right mix of coaches and transfer players and existing players to field a competitive team next year. Hopefully more than a competitive team. I know competitive makes it sound like, hey, maybe we'll go 5-7 and play some close games. But no, I think to answer your question, I think they're more confident inside the facility than a lot of you guys are outside the facility right now. As always, there's more questions we didn't get to because I talked too much. But we'll try to address more maybe over the weekend. We will probably have an episode or two this weekend. Hopefully Miami lands some commits. So make sure you smash that like button. You subscribe to Locked On Canes. Make sure you try out the Locked On Canes Insiders group. Click the link in the show description below to try it free for 14 days. And we will talk to you guys again next time. Hopefully we land a branch brother or two. Hopefully we land a defensive coordinator. Hopefully we figure out exactly who the quarterback is going to be. And we'll talk to you then on another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.